Hello everyone, welcome to this video on how to analyze multiple choice responses or take all that applies. These are questions where the researcher will require the participant to take more than one options. For example, this is a working example for this video. What is your preferred information source on COVID? Tick all that applies. So here the participant might have taken this radio and television. They are one variable. This is just how the study arranged it. The participant might take radio and television and also take the options of the option newspapers/print media, or participant might take radio and television, newspapers, print media, and then also take social media and internet. So let us see how we can analyze that. Usually this is how the data looks like. Now you look at column K, what is your information source? So this is showing that this first participant took radio and television, took that option, that's option 1, and also ticked social media/internet, and then took family and friends. So this person had 3 sources of information for COVID-19. So each of the sources are separated by a comma. So this person has 3 sources. This person has just 1. So you cannot see any comma separating, you cannot see a comma. That's to show you that it has only one source of information. Now, if you're downloading your Excel sheet, just like this one was, if you're downloading it directly from Google Form, it will automatically do this arrangement for you. But then if you're filling this manually, if you are preparing this data manually, you'll have to put a comma after each of the options to differentiate the variables. All right, so let's take the whole of this just highlighted, place your cursor on top, Ctrl C, go to a separate sheet, you paste it. Now you might want to expand this column A so that you can have a better view of all the options. So now you cannot take this to SPSS and analyze. If you try doing that, let's go to SPSS right now. If you try doing that, this is what you get. Analyze multiple response, define variable set. This is what SPSS will tell you, because this is not how SPSS can run this particular analysis. So what SPSS wants you to do is to create a separate column for each of the responses, right? So you have, it's saying that radio and television should take a separate column, social media, internet should take a separate column, family and friends, and so on and so forth, depending on how many variables or how many options that you have for that particular question. So now you need to return or revert to your original questionnaire to take out all the options that you used in your questionnaire, your research. So when you copy all the options and you want to arrange them here, instead of just typing them in, you can paste as a transpose. If you do a normal paste, this is what you would get. But this is not what you want. You want the first, you want this column B to be for radio and television, column C for newspaper, and so on and so forth. So you put it here and go to paste special, sorry. Then go to transpose here, so it has arranged all the options for you. So you have radio and television, newspaper, social media, family, and then others. So now what you have to do is to just tell us for this first person, did he pick radio and television? If you pick radio and television, it's 1. If you pick newspaper, it's 1. But in this case, he didn't pick, so it's a 0. If you pick social media, it's 1. If you pick family and friends, 1. If you didn't pick that, 0. The 1 is for yes, and the 0 is for no. You could use any variable at all, any number at all. Sorry, but most times it's just better, or it makes more sense to use 0 and 1. 1 for yes and 0 for no. It's telling you that this person didn't pick newspaper, social media, and so on and so forth. But if you have to do this manually for all these responses, let's look at this particular form. This one has 36 responses, but um there are research or questionnaires that may have up to 800 responses, 5,000 responses, 2,000, as the case may be. So doing this manually will take a lot of time, and of course is more prone to errors. And another thing, another problem with another thing is that you may have more than one tick, all that applies in a particular research, like I usually have. So doing like 3 tick all that applies, or 2 tick that are all that applies in research manually will take so much of your time. So there's just a simpler way of doing the ones and zeros before taking into SPSS. Click on equals to find. You click on, sorry, excuse me, equals to find. Click on the formula. Click on row B1. Then put a dollar sign after the B. Excuse me. Dollar sign after the B. Then a comma that I want it to change to within text. Then you click on where you want Excel to find this radio and television. You click on cell A2 and then put a dollar sign before the A and click enter. Now what you're seeing is that you want SPSS to find radio and television here, and then you can copy the formula throughout. Good, so you can see this. In newspaper, there's no number. In order, there's no number. But there is a number in radio and television, social media, and order. This means that Excel has found radio and television in this row as the first character, then social media as the 23rd character. We can count that. You can count that and confirm. Then family and friends as the 46th character. And there is no newspaper and there is no other in this column. So what you do, excuse me for a while. So you click on equals to find, yes. Then you click on row B, sorry, you click on B1 and then put a dollar sign after the B, then put a comma. I need to change to within text. Then you click on this A2 and then you put a dollar sign before the A, then put enter. Then you can copy this formula through this row. Now what you're seeing is the simple instruction you're giving Excel is that it should find this radio and television, this word in this row, and it is answering you and saying yes, I have found it as the first character in this row. And for social media, you see the number is 23. It is saying I found social media as the 23rd character in this row. So that is something you can confirm. And family and friends as a 46th character. Now you can see there's no number for um there's no number for newspaper and order, telling you that SPSS didn't find newspaper and order in that row. So you can copy out this, you can do this for all this row, and this is what you do because any wherever you see number, wherever you see a number, it doesn't matter the value of that number. It means that Excel found that particular word in among the responses. It means that that participant had taken that response. So what you do is you sort it, you highlight this and highlight the A column, you go to filter and sort, you can sort smallest to largest. Now what happens is that all the numbers come to one side and you can replace all of them. What I simply did, I clicked on the first space and I clicked one and then I press enter because I want to copy this one all through to replace whatever number is there. And then where you have value, where there is no number, I will delete it. So then I do the same thing for column C. The same thing for column C. Now I delete all of this. So we do the same thing until the last column. Now, once you are done with all this, you'll realize that the empty spaces, that zero should rightly be there. It means that the participant didn't take that option. So what you do, you just highlight everything here. You highlight everything, Control F, then you go to replace, find word, leave it blank, meaning that every blank space we should replace it with zero. So you click on replace all, and Excel, sorry, will automatically do this replacement for you, so you don't have to do it manually. So it is at this stage that you can copy all of these to your SPSS and proceed with your analysis. So this is very simple. This is much faster than trying to fill in manually, and the chances of error is very, very minimal. And it's also very useful if you have large data up to 400, 500, 800 responses. All right, so let's go into do this in SPSS. So you come to SPSS, I could have exported it, but I always prefer to copy and paste, then do a little cleanup. So I have copied and I have pasted here in SPSS. If you notice at first it didn't paste because I didn't copy it. So I went back to copy it. Now if you notice, if you had exported, SPSS would have taken care of this if you had imported, but since you're copying and pasting, you need to this is a title row, you need to use the SPSS title. So you go to your variable view, it changes to radio, change it to radio. Space doesn't allow space, so you use a underscore radio and television. Then you change the data type to numeric. Then you do the same for all of the variables. Having done that, you go back, you now delete the first row. Now all the text have disappeared because remember we had changed the data type to numeric. So anything that is not a number will automatically disappear, but you don't leave it like this because it can affect your responses. So you just clear, you right click and then clear that particular row. So this is the first response. This is the first response. So you're now ready to do your multiple choice response. You go to analyze, then multiple response, define variable set. So you highlight everything, all the things you want to do multiple response with. So you put in, then where you have counted value, you use your value for yes, which was 1. Remember I told you could use any number. If you had used 2 for years, 1 for no, you would put 2 here. If you had used 3 for yes and 5 for no, you would put 5 here, whatever is your value for yes. Then you give it a name, let's say source of COVID info. Then you give it a label. You can sort of, you can say something, but let's just information source for COVID. You could still have used underscore for the name, or you could have left no space for the label. They're basically the same thing. So you now add good. Then you close. You've defined your variable set. You close. You go back to analyze. You go to multiple response. Sorry, there is just a minute. So there was a mistake we made. Anytime you clicking this X button, it will not save that action. So you click on add and then you come here, you click on close, not this other close, not this X button. If we click on this X button, it's canceling the action. That action will not be saved. So we come back to analyze multiple response, then you click on frequencies. Now, we can know that we can cross-tabulate to multiple choice responses. So maybe you want to cross-tabulate source of information for COVID and symptoms of COVID. Maybe symptoms of COVID was equally take all that applies. So you've done the same thing you're doing for source of information. You've done it for symptoms. You want to kind of cross tabulate. You want to know the percentage of people who said radio and television that are experiencing fever and so on and so forth. So that is when you go to cross tabulate and you tabulate the two multiple choice responses. But since this is just one, we can just look at the frequency. Click on OK. So going to our output screen right now. So this is what we have. This is what it's telling you. That 22.6% of persons of participants got the information from radio and 28.3% got it from social media. That is to show you that according to this research, the social media and radio are the most important source of information for the study participants. So you can now copy your table to your Microsoft Word and edit it. You may not necessarily need all the columns. You may just need both of these, number of cases and the percentage, to depending on what you want. So that is how to analyze multiple choice responses. I really hope this helps.